And the world isn't at war, but some Marylanders are ready just in case. That story next.
11 News at 5, live, local, late-breaking.
For the headache. So if you saw an impressive Air Force activity show tonight over the Maryland skies, don't worry. We're not at war, but we are prepared. Marylanders joined with the Royal Air Force for a special exercise today. Dina Napoli has the story.
If you need to make any final adjustments, talk about pulling out around and coming in on the final approach course.
It's the start of an important day and an even more important experience. Members of the Maryland Air National Guard's 135th Airlift Squadron join forces with those from the 70th Squadron of the British Royal Air Force. It's one of several training missions that keep these former Desert Storm partners ready to face anything, anywhere in the world.
It's really important to us. The origins of this exercise came out of the operations after Desert Storm, when we were thrown in pretty much cold to an escort mission with the A-10 aircraft in northern Iraq. So we went in cold and never got a chance to practice it. And we came back from that operation and decided that it would be a good idea to practice it in peacetime in a slower time environment. And that's why we're here.
The whole idea of jointness really helps us demonstrate not only to ourselves but to our allies, and in this case the Royal Air Force, that we can do the job in a low-level environment.
Airspeed 210 down.
Today's mission takes the team on C-130s over central Pennsylvania for a simulated mission over Bosnia, since the terrain is similar. 4 Thunderbolt II attack jets, or A-10s, are also involved. They're here to perform low-level flight runs over the target area, using 30mm cannons to clear the drop zone of any hostile threats. Then a simulated cargo drop. A 15-pound bag of sand is released from the cargo hold. And in Martinsburg, West Virginia, crews practice landings on short runways, the kind they may find in Bosnia. Crew members say everything is realistic when it comes to training like this.
It's just about the best training we get, having dedicated assets, the Guard with the A-10s and their Hercs.
So we practice here in Maryland and Pennsylvania in order to be proficient so that when we go overseas for real-world missions that we're ready to do it and able to do it.
Dina Napoli, WBAL 11 News.
There was some serious training taking place in the skies above Maryland today. The British Royal Air Force is here in Baltimore to receive some special training from our own National Guard aboard the C-130 air transport plane. Military officials are hoping to promote an exchange of ideas.
It's fantastic. Every time they come over here or we go over there, it's we all learn something, and it promotes camaraderie and just good experience. And they have different ideas about how to fly 130s, and they're slightly different from our guys, so we take something from them, and hopefully we give something to them as well.
This is the 3rd year for the exchange program.
Finally, the British have landed in Middle River. The British Air Force, that is, a visiting squadron of English aviators in joint operations with the Maryland Air National Guard. Today, they invited News Channel 2's Andy Barth to fly along.
The C-130 is a shapeless but efficient centerpiece of both the American Air Force and the RAF. Today, pilots from the colonies and the Empire got together for a joint exercise, which began, of course, with a briefing.
So the runway is now clear to do your assault landings.
The idea was to practice joint exercises so we can work together when we need to. It's happened in Bosnia and Iraq, so it's hardly far-fetched, and pilots from both nations seem to enjoy learning each other's ways and each other's company.
We've come back to try and invade again. Maybe we'll stay longer this time.
How did you deal with our accents?
It's easy. We're sort of separated by a common language, but, you know, we get by, no problem with that.
In the air, we flew in formation with A-10 Warthogs as escorts and 5 C-130s making a raid on Martinsburg. There's a lot to get used to in a military plane that you don't find even in the Spartan atmosphere of today's commercial aviation. Air conditioning comes as a cloud of fog. Seating is tighter than the old Eastern Shuttle or an oversold Southwest flight to Cleveland. And the flight deck is no place for the squeamish, in which I include myself. One highlight of the tour was opening up the back cargo door for a better view of the countryside than you might really want. And for the crew, another highlight was dropping a dummy package with a real parachute in an effort to simulate landing cargo on target. It was interesting to see that in a cockpit full of high-tech dials and switches, they still find space for a low-tech pencil sharpener and still seem to have fun flying. They also remember the point of the mission.
If we ever then have to get into a situation as we did in Desert Shield and Desert Storm, in the future, we're going to know what their procedures are, they're going to know what our procedures are, and the blending of the two organizations will become just that much easier.
I don't mean to seem ungrateful, but flying in these planes is extremely uncomfortable. It gives some of us a new appreciation for the intestinal fortitude of the people who do it. Back on the tarmac in Middle River, I'm Andy Barth, News Channel 2.
Now here's the real deal. Andy came back this afternoon looking a little green behind the gills, and we found out later that, yeah, you guessed it, he lost it on the flight. He is recovering very nicely right now. And he also tells us that the final approach for landing at Martin Airport gave a spectacular view of Camden Yards and the traffic on the Bay Bridge. Of course, Andy never saw it.
I wonder if he enjoyed any of it.
He finished his flight sort of like this, you know. They told him about it.
We can't call him Andy's stomach of steel Barth anymore?
I don't think so. Don't think so.
Too bad, Andy. Someone else will have to take that title. That's all for us at 5 o'clock. Thanks for watching. I'm Mary Beth Mars.
I'm Stan Stovall. Stay tuned. News Channel 2 at 6.
You may have heard them late this morning. They were hard to miss. 6 C-130 cargo planes and 4 A-10 fighters flying out of Martin State Airport. A training exercise mixing crews from Maryland's Air National Guard and the British Royal Air Force.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1, break off.
So as each squadron matures and develops and trains, we try to make sure that we're interoperable, and we try to make sure that we fit together, but you don't know that until you actually fly together.
Yes, that's true. We've both got something to learn from each other. We think we've got more to learn from us, and they probably think the same about us.
But even though they fly similar aircraft and speak the same language, the British were still in unfamiliar territory.
Yeah, got the ridge on the left there. Power lines coming in from the outside of the aircraft. Back now.
Today's sortie went from Maryland to Pennsylvania to West Virginia. Formation flying at ridgetop level to do a practice drop. Rocky air and threading between mountains did not make it easy. But real joint missions in the Persian Gulf, Somalia, and Bosnia weren't easy either. The small practice pack eventually found its target.
It's been hard work today, but very interesting.
What made it so difficult?
Just the weather conditions we were flying in, unfamiliar territory, quite a demanding scenario that we gave ourselves.
And flying 2 missions a day while they are in Maryland doesn't give the crews much time for a break.
We got here on the Monday, we had a few briefs on the Monday. We didn't fly on the Monday, and then we flew we got 3 aircraft here, and they've both done a morning sortie and an afternoon sortie, so each crew's flown every day.
So you haven't had a leave yet?
Not yet, I think we've got Saturday off, so Friday's Friday night, I think.
They'll leave the noisemakers back at Martin's. Alex Demetra, Channel 13 Eyewitness News.